Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
You're listening to the RAP podcast, the Welsh Regional Rugby Appreciation Pod, where we try to cover all the important issues on and off the field in Welsh regional and national rugby. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, all of that information is at the end, so you'll just have to bear with us and get to that bit. In the meantime, enjoy this week's show. Hello and welcome to another RAP podcast. Joining me, Lee G, as always, is Reese, Jamie and Carwyn. How are we, gents?
Not too
all
bad.
Good, thank you. Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Carwyn can't answer properly because he's got a mouth full of stir fry. So, he's fitted us into his night while he's having his tea. It's very good of him.
I'm a busy man.
So, before we dive into the excitement that was last weekend, 4 teams, only one of us won, not just saying, boys, just going to drop that in there right at the start,
Clearly a slip up.
Yeah. He's laughing now, isn't he? He's smiling now.
I'm going to make the most of this. Going to make the most of this one, trust me. So, before we delve into that, then let's crack on with Beer of the Week. So, Jamie's busting to introduce his Beer of the Week. Well, what have you got, Jamie? Let's crack on with yours.
Oh, this is a naughty one, boys. You're going to love this. Tonight, I have got a Porn Star Martini beer. Oh, yes.
Oh, look at that, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Where did you get that from? Beer. That's not from Tesco.
So this is from Lidl's. It's brewed by a company called Cold Town Brewery, which is based in Edinburgh. It's 4.6%. And I gotta say, it's absolutely stonking, as my dad would say. Very, very nice.
It's a good word.
Stonking. Yeah.
How many have you had already? Are you just on your first?
Oh, no, I only bought the one can. No, I just bought one can because I thought if I don't like it, I've wasted it then, haven't I? But I will be buying it again, I can assure you that. Cheers.
Good man.
Nice one, James.
Reese, what have you got, mate?
I'm still working through this box of Brewed Dog. So I had the Planet IPA last time, and I've got the stronger Hazy Jane, which I've had before. And this one tends to make me a little bit like skew-iff after a couple, but it's lovely as well. Like, I'm really enjoying IPAs at the minute.
So between the iffy beer and the iffy leg, tonight's going to be a bit of fun then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, boys, I had a good drink on Saturday sort of thing, like, and getting up and walking around the house on the crutches was a little bit like, it could have gone either way. I might not have been here. I might have been back in hospital.
Oh, good. Carwyn, what have you got, mate?
Well, in fairness, I completely forgot about Beer of the Week, so I had to raid a Christmas box and pull out some San Miguel Especial. So I'm on that.
Solid choice. It's a solid choice.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
See, I thought I got to the bottom of my cheap Christmas beer on Saturday night. I was watching the Scarlets, and I thought I'd got to the bottom of it. And I went, right, okay. And then I switched on to the Baileys, right? We've got to get rid of the Baileys. And then as I was putting the Baileys back in, I found another box of 24 Budweiser stuff behind. So I think I might just save that for Six Nations. That might be my Six Nations deposit, if you like. So my beer tonight, so this is the last of my Christmas beers from the Caffel Brewery. This one's called Drop Squint. And I got a nasty, nasty feeling that one's going to come back and revisit me tomorrow. It's 5.2%. It's like a proper live ale and all of that. It's a proper craft ale. But it was like drinking ice cream just now. And yeah,
it's calming down a bit.
That's
now,
murky, that is. Yeah.
I'm fairly sure if I put my pen in there, it would stand up. But
that's had a life, that beer has.
yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one tomorrow. But there we go. Right, okie dokie. That's the admin out the way. Let's get on to some serious business. Who wants to start? Where do we start with? Friday night, wasn't it? So, James, you start with the Dragons on Friday night. What did you make of that game, mate?
Yeah, let's get this one out the way quite quickly because the other games are far more interesting, weren't they? Let's be honest. Look, we discussed on the pod last week. We knew this was going to be a very, very difficult task for the Dragons. They were playing their third game in 12 days. I said last week, I think we've been shafted royally by the scheduling. And Di Flanagan said that it felt like the world's against us at the moment. But, you got to get on with it, don't you? But then you saw the Bulls team. They were fully loaded, pretty much. And I'm not going to lie, after about 16 minutes, we were 17-0 down. I turned to my old man in the stand and I said, this could be a 50, 60-point battering. It was heading that way. It really was. Fair play to the boys. They did improve and they did do very well, I thought, to fight back and get within 3 at the break. Although he was helped by their fly-half Goosen, who missed touch a couple of times. He had a bit of a shocker in the first half. But the fact of the matter is we just could not compete with the Bulls' power up front. And the scrum, as we saw at Parker Scarlets, the front five, it was the same front five that was dismantled at Parker Scarlets. And, well, they were just absolutely stuffed, weren't they? And what can you do about that? What can you do when it's just absolute power and brutality? Like, there's nothing you can do.
The size difference between the packs on Friday night, sort of thing. There was occasions where the Bulls players were just picking up members of the Dragons front five. Like, I mean, it was the physicality, the size of them is just ridiculous. Like,
well, you say about the size. I've actually seen bigger visiting packs than the Bulls, because I've seen a lot of French teams come to Rodney Parade, and I thought the Sharks had a bigger looking pack, but the Bulls are an incredibly strong team. I'd say they're probably the best. I think the stats back this up. I think they're the best scrummaging team right now in URC. Right. I think they've gained the most penalties from opposition scrum. So, and let's not forget, Dragons have got a lot of injuries in their front five. I think it's really hurt them missing Carter and Rowland to the second row. We didn't have Fairbrother and Brown, although Fairbrother came on last week, but, we was without him in the Scarlets. So we're missing Rodri Jones, LED. So we have got injuries in our front five. But, it was very predictable, really. And for all the fighting endeavour that we showed, they just could not cope and contain with the power of the Bulls. And like I said, I don't know what you can do about that when it's just sheer power and brutality. These South African teams, they're another level, in there. Their packs are just so strong. But we're positive for the Dragons. I thought Bradley Roberts was great. Warren Gatland was sat just a couple of rows behind us in hospitality. I thought he was good, especially in the loose. It was great to see Ollie Griffiths back. Even if it was for 40 minutes, it was still nice to see him. I thought Steph Hughes played well. He's showing his consistency. I think he's been really good. Lewis Jones, I'm afraid, was absolutely abysmal yet again. I mean, he has been so bad in these Christmas derbies. That yellow card was so daft. You're better off just letting them score the try because there's no guarantees they take the conversion. I mean, to punch the ball out like that, it's just brain dead, the stupidity. And then praying that Gonzalo will be back fully fit this week and Rodri comes back soon because we can't keep starting Lewis Jones at 9. I'm sure he's a nice bloke. I think he's just not cut out for this level. Yeah, he did, but he didn't look fully fit. Even my dad said that. He did, he was a lot of strapping and he just seemed a little bit off the pace. And I mean, it's either that or you bring on a 19-year-old Shea Hope, but we saw against the Scarlets that I think he's just a little bit too young and lightweight for this level, But there's not much else to say, is there? It was always going to be too much to ask, but this is Dragons' 7th game now without a win. And I got to be honest, I was looking at the fixtures list before we started recording. And I always get to this stage as a Dragons fan, every season where I look at the fixtures and I don't know where the next win is coming from. And I'm at that stage now. I honestly don't know where the next Dragons win is coming from at the moment. It's pretty tough at the moment. But it is what it is, isn't it?
When you listen to Dave Flanagan talk, and he's like, we need to find these great big 18-stone props and nurture them and look after them. And, what have we been doing for the last 10 years?
Yeah. It's not just the Dragons thing, is it? It's a Welsh.
No, it's all of us.
We don't produce big, strong, physical players. And that's across the board, It is a worry. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I tell you.
Well, in general, yeah. I meant in general. I know Ospreys got a big pack, but, we could do with producing more big, strong packs, can we, across the board, is what I'm saying, I suppose.
Well, a few units in each team.
I went to watch the Scarlets Dragons under-18s last Wednesday, and you had a prop who was probably the biggest player on the pitch. He's about 6'2", about my weight. And I weighed again today after Christmas, and he was a big lump of a boy. He played about 50, 60 minutes, and if he can be just on size and shape, he's the sort of player that Dave Flanagan is looking for. But it's whether you take somebody that age at 18 and go, right, okay, how do I get you from there? They didn't look like a lot of muscle on him, I'll be honest.
No.
He just looked like a big kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you can build muscle,
You
just reminded me of something from Saturday night when I was down at the Liberty, one of the Q&As. And Mike Craddock was saying there's one of the lads coming through. Obviously, they're searching internationally for Welsh qualified players as well. I can't remember the young lad's name. He's only a young boy. But he's 6'5", 19 stone, and he's a prop. He is huge.
How's you prop when you're that tall?
I know, but I don't care. it doesn't matter how you prop when you're that tall. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to mention something about the. I just want to quickly mention this about the Dragons props because, as you guys know, I quite like stats. That I went on the URC website. I think you know what I'm going to say. Have you seen the penalties conceded section of the URC website? So, Aki Louis, Dragons Lucid prop, he's leading the way with 18 penalties conceded, right? Now, it's important to bear in mind, these won't all be scrummaging. There'll be other things like offsides and all that stuff. But
I'd say 17 of them were the other week.
Yeah, exactly. So, Aki Louis is a penalty machine, right? He's good in the loose, but scrum time, not very good at all. Second is Chris Coleman, who's a young prop. I don't know what to make of Chris Coleman. Some people at the Dragons, he's rated quite highly at the Dragons. I'm yet to be convinced, but he is a young prop. He's conceded 17. So you've got 2 Dragons props in the top 2 for penalties conceded. So I think that tells you an awful lot, doesn't it, already? And, stats don't lie. So
I think it's quite harsh that we blame scrummaging issues on props alone. When your scrum collapses, it's always the penalty goes against the prop. And, a scrum is, 8 men all pushing in the same direction sort of a thing. It's very much the tighter and stronger everybody is, the better, you perform up front. You can get away with a weaker prop if you've got better power coming through and a better structure.
It's the front 5, isn't it? The front 5 bear the most responsibility. If you go a weak front 5 like the Dragons have at the moment, it's very difficult to get power in the scrum. And against the Bulls, it's going to end badly for you, isn't it?
And that's kind of...
When you've got Bismarck Duplessis coming off the bench to see the size of him, a hooker, that's ridiculous.
The 70s porn star. I have never seen anyone look more like a 70s. And the hair, and I bet you if he took his top off, he'd had a big hairy chest and a medallion down the middle there. He just had that feel about him.
A medallion in the shape of a burger.
But the thing I was impressed with from the Dragons was Di Flanagan after the game talking about Angus O'Brien.
Angus O'Brien, yeah, that's right. Great, wasn't it?
I just thought, even when, he's obviously under a lot of pressure. Yeah, even just that's his first season, and you always get that little bit of, give him a season to get in and build his team and what have you. But to be able to say, I'm going to look after the guy. He says he's fine. He's passed his protocols, but he's had 2 concussions in 3 weeks. So I'm sitting him out for his own good. That kind of says to me, Di Flanagan's there for the long run. Yeah, this is a 5-year project for him. Minimum.
Can I just say about the fight back? There's many spirited fight backs we've witnessed with sides that are not good enough, underpowered in the pack and things like that. But the fight back was quite intelligent as well. The tries that the Dragons scored were quite well worked, weren't they?
Andy Roberts was a very well executed set piece move, and you can tell they've been doing that in the training paddock of a strongman for a long time. And when it comes off, it worked an absolute treat. And Max Clark's finish as well was fantastic. I thought he had a good game actually. Max Clark.
And nobody expected when it, like you said, when it was 17-0, I was watching it going I'm having a long night here. But the fight back was just and some of the decisions went against you. There's a couple of times when Griffiths was well over the ball sort of thing and got pinged for it.
Yeah,
that could have gone either way. Yeah.
Mike Addison was determined not to give us anything all night. We got on the wrong side of him very early on, and I don't particularly like Mike Adamson. I don't think he's a good ref, and I haven't got a lot of respect for him. I think he's pretty poor. But with him, once you lose him early, then he doesn't give you anything for the rest of the game. If you piss him off early, you're not going to get anything from him. We didn't get anything out of Adamson, very, very little. But then again, with the power the Bulls had, what were we going to get? I think we won 1 scrum all night, I think it was. So we didn't lose because of Adamson anyway. We just weren't good enough. We weren't powerful enough. But, like I said, it's green shoots, we were doing well and fight back. And you've got, when you keep losing, all you can do is take the positives. But for the Dragons now, it's trying to turn them from being plucky losers into winners. So that's what we want to see. I don't want to keep talking. But every week I feel like now it feels like we've gone back to type, and I'm having to talk about the same stuff all the time. And I want to get us from being plucky losers, because there is an element of our fan base who settle for being plucky losers, and that's fine. That's up to them. But I want a bit more than that. I want us to be competitive and start winning games. And that's the challenge now for Di Flanagan. This is his first big test, I think, as Dragons coach as he took over. How does he transition from them to being plucky losers into winners? It's going to take time, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so we won't dwell too much on the Dragons, because if Jamie had hair, it would turn grey. So we'll go from.
I don't want the next bit. I'm fine with moving on to the Ospreys, if I'm honest.
Should we do Ospreys and then come back to Cardiff Scarlets? Which way do you want to do it?
Let's get it over with. Yeah, okay. Let's get it over with, man.
Well, go on. You start, and I'll finish 6 points ahead.
I think, to be fair, I know I joked on WhatsApp that I wouldn't mention anything on the pods, the put you in a good light. I'm gonna go against that now and say, we left ourselves too much to do, and that's because you outplayed us in the first half. I thought when I see the back row named, I thought that's a fantastic back row, and it did cause damage later on with Faletau runs and stuff like that. But I think a lot of it happened against the Ospreys, and it happened against Scarlets. It's sort of our breakdown work has sort of been worked out a little bit by 2 teams in a row now, sort of things that we're getting absolutely shoved off the ball at the breakdown. I thought we had you in the scrum early on. I thought our hip returning made a real impact, sort of thing, even with a bad shoulder. He was looking the part. I think your pack played magnificently, just hammered into us, sort of thing. I didn't like the fact that I think one of you mentioned before that they were waiting to see who won to give the man of the match. Just give the man of the match, isn't it? Who's played best? even though saying that, we left ourselves a lot to do, I thought Cardiff came back and looked at parts. We were playing at such a pace that I thought at one point we were going to steal it off you. But it just, too many drop balls, too many mistakes. And what typified it for me was a high ball went up and Josh Adams came running at it and I was like, here we go, because I thought we were in the ascendancy at that point. And he just dropped the ball. And it's very rare that Josh Adams does that. So that sort of typified the whole night for me, but not taking anything away from the way the Scarlets performed. I thought Dane Black, I after seeing that game, I put him in my squad. He's looking the part, and I realise now why you don't choose Hardy anymore.
But he was in the autumn squad as well, Dane Black. Don't forget, yeah, he was in the autumn squad.
No, absolutely. He's a fine player that keeps the game really ticking over, doesn't he? I
think he's the best scrum half in Wales at the moment. I know Thomas Young is number one, but on form, I think Dane Black is the best. I think he's great.
I thought Thomas Young made loads of mistakes in front of him, and he got outplayed by Dane Black.
Off the boy a couple of games.
I hate losing derbies more than I hate losing other games. I don't like it, but and when we had that kick at the end to go, I thought, here we go, like the Dragons, boys, like the Dragons, what have you. And then the line out, oh my God, 3 bloody hookers. Well, 2 of them have got caps. None of them can throw straight. It's ridiculous. Jimmy, that professional rugby player, and I'm not saying, I think they're all fine rugby players. Jimmy, I cheer them on when I'm on behind the away dugout in the South Terrace. But oh my God, they cannot hit a man for love nor money.
But I think the difference was, but I mean, it was quite windy on Saturday night. Obviously, you can see
it was. It was.
But there's obviously something in the way that your lineout's being coached, because you can see when a hooker's lining up, and normally they'll line up and then take a sneaky step to the left, or take a sneaky step back to their side, so the referee thinks they're throwing down the middle, where actually it's not quite. What your hookers do is they take a sneaky step away. They take a little shuffle away, so when they're throwing down the middle, it's hitting the middle on the front man, but then by the time it gets to the second man, it's over. The problem with that is the referees go in, okay, well, that looks wonky, and if you don't get it right, you're all over the shop. Do you know what I mean? You try and overcompensate, you try and undercompensate, and all sorts of stuff. So it's a difficult system to do. I used to be a front jumper when we tried to do it, when you edge over. And if you don't get it absolutely bang on right, you get found out every time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, there's something in the way that they're throwing in. Because like I say, they're good hookers. They've all done it before.
Fantastic rugby players, absolutely. Yeah. But good scrummaging. Belcher's a wicked scrummaging hooker. And he's come on leaps and bounds this season. He's one of my most improved players. But that's the one frustrating thing. But I guess, it might be what you say.
Well, for me, after 30 minutes, I thought this is it. We're sorted here. We've got a bonus point wrapped up before half time. Because just everything, every bounce, we were kicking into the wind and it was bouncing and coming back. There were 50-50 calls that were going our way. Everything that's not gone our way so far this season was working. We were throwing stupid offloads that normally end up getting intercepted or getting booted 50 metres down the pitch, and they would go into hand. So it just felt, it felt whatever we were doing was just going to go right. So to come back to, we were 3 tries up in the first half, and we didn't score a try in the second half. And second half was all Cardiff. But yeah, it was a little bit squeaky bums. It did get to that bit, and it was only the penalties, half pennies penalties, that was the difference between the sides. So
it was a great game. I enjoyed. I think enjoy is wrong. That's the word to say. I'm not sure I even enjoy rugby, but I just keep going back for more every week. But I thought it was a great game to watch, sort of thing, even with the mistakes. And I thought some players continue to get better from our side. I'll let you talk about your players a bit more. But I think Ben Thomas He can play centre, full back, and outside half for us, and he's just turning into a fine player.
But also Mason Grady. I just saw one of the highlights there. On Twitter, and he absolutely smashed Jonathan Davis. Just like brushed him aside up the way, like he kept on going.
He's 6'5".
I know,
Mason Grady.
It's great.
And he runs. I'm not sure what his times are, but he's quick.
Like an antelope.
And that's the first time he's made that sort of impact of a crash bowling and stuff like that. He's definite prospect, and hope not like Max Llewellyn. Hopefully we can keep hold of this one.
You've gone and torn it now, haven't you?
I know, that's it. Touch wood, everybody.
Like, why do we let these good players on the pitch so other people can see them and come and steal?
Especially when Gatland's here. Take him away.
Get him away. But, it was quite nice to see Joe Roberts for us as well. He had a
very good
game.
The centre.
He did,
because he was just starting to. The idea of Joe Roberts was he was going to come and take over from Jonathan Davis, and it was all going to be lovely. And then he had a really nasty knee injury, I think it was, at the end of last season. So that's only his 1.5 game. He had half a game last week, and then came off. And then to see him play the way he is after being out that long injured was really, really encouraging.
Yeah.
So we've got another boy coming through the academy that played for Llanelli against Ebervale called Eddie James. And Eddie James is 6'3", I think, and 17 stone, 16, 17 stone. So those two have kind of come through academy together, sort of a thing, a bit like the way Scott Williams came through with Jonathan Davis. So you do kind of get that feel that over the next couple of seasons, that's going to be our mainstay, because it's been the one area that we've kind of worried about. There hasn't been a lot of depth in our centres, so having him back has been quite encouraging.
He was very busy, good feet, wasn't he? Like,
he's
and good from a standing start.
Yeah, he's an annoying little shit. If you're playing against him, he's an.
I know.
You just can't get hold of him. He's, it's like Shane Williams used to be. You thought you got him, and then like a bar of soap, and he's gone, sort of thing. And he's a big abrasive runner. So yeah, there's a lot of trust being put in the future for Joe Roberts. So
I watched that game as a neutral, but I'm not going to lie, you would have preferred if Cardiff had won, because now it looks like Scarlets are chasing up the Dragons now. So we're going to end up probably being the worst Welsh region as per. But I got to say,
Jamie, I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm glad. I'm glad the Scarlets beat them. Although the Blues are going to got a bonus point.
Cardiff, not Blues. Don't upset the Twitter a lot, please.
He does it on purpose, doesn't he?
Sorry, I was glad Cardiff got that bonus point because and if the Ospreys had won, we would have been up there with them on joint. But hey, look, we'll move on to that after.
Yeah,
sorry, crack on.
But I disagree with anything you just said, then. So I don't know.
I'm worried that Cardiff.
You have him, Jake.
I'm worried that Cardiff would have that season that we had last year, where we had a good first half of the season, and then just sort of fell away, where we started games really well and then lost really badly later on, sort of thing. And I think the cracks are starting to show a little bit now. And we'll get to predictions later, but we'll be watching the results of the people we're playing coming up in Europe. It's just, like last time we played them, it was like they were losing to everybody, but it's not the case now with either of our sides.
But I did try to watch it with a neutral head, and I got to say I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. And I did see a tweet from a Scarlets board which said Cardiff would have been deserving winners. I disagree. I actually think Scarlets deserve to win. I thought they were the better team.
Holy fuck, boys! I'd stop the show there, because that's Carwyn and Jamie.
Listen, I am the most balanced person on this podcast. Everyone knows I'm the most balanced. And I always be fair and honest. I'm not like you lot. I can see the wood from the trees. I'm not one-eyed. Okay? You lot are so horribly one-eyed about your own teams. You can't be neutral. Well, I can, okay? So, Scarlets...
You could be neutral. I'm going to be watching you now for the rest of the season.
I'm very neutral.
Notebook out, Jay.
Start digging the hole.
Jamie said...
No, but you was talking about like Cardiff. I think the set piece let them down. I mean, they have got a serious line-out problem, haven't they? If Dragons got a scrum problem, Cardiff got a line-out, and they really got to address it. Well, who impressed me for the Scarlets? I thought Dan Davies was excellent. I've talked about him before in this pod. I really like him. Stephen Thomas from Wales Online wrote a piece about him today, and he sort of said he could be a contender for the Six Nations squad. Now, I won't go that far because, he's had a lot of injuries. He's had 2 very good games. But I don't think he should be leapfrogging someone like Thomas Young yet. But I do like Dan Davies. I was impressed with another Wales Online favourite, Carwyn Tobolatu. I thought he put in a very good shift, in fairness to him.
From the off as well.
From the off, yeah. Joe Roberts again. I don't know a lot about Joe Roberts, so it's the first time I really watched him in close detail. I thought he was very good. And the old war horses again, Ken, Foxy. I thought they were two. I thought Jordan Davis was very, very good, actually. He won a couple of key turnovers as well. And on the whole, I thought it was a good game. But we have to talk about the officiating, right? And I don't want to get ranty about it now. But Joy Neville was the ref for this game, right? And I like Joy Neville. I've got a lot of time and respect for her. I do think she's a very good referee. But I will say I did think she lost control of this game, big time. It started to get to the point where she kept missing incidents on the pitch. And, referees can't pick up on everything. But the TMO constantly had to say, 50-22, offside, high tackle. He kept chipping in all the time because she was missing so many incidents. And it got to the point where he was almost guiding her. The TMO, Brian McLeish, I think it was, he was almost guiding her a little bit, and I thought, well, she's got to get a grip of this game. And you can argue about, the yellow cards. You may say 2 of them should have been red. I mean, you can argue that amongst yourselves, but somebody should have seen a red in this game. Somebody should have seen red, whether it's Tamani, whether it's Steph Thomas. I personally thought Steph Thomas should definitely have seen red. There was mitigation with Tamani, but again, if he got sent off, I wouldn't have had any complaints. I don't think I went elsewhere because it was a very nasty blow to the head. But the fact, the ball carrier was dipping, he got away with one. But somebody should definitely see the red in this game. And it is a bit of a shame. I thought the officiating was a bit of a letdown in this game. But other than that, I thought it was very entertaining.
I was speaking to a friend and saying, I watching it, and you're going to accuse me of being one-eyed now, but I did think that, she was very clear, everybody was explained everything to, and if this happens, I'm doing this, and then she did it, it wasn't completely loss of control. I thought she had a decent game in parts.
Yeah, I thought she got actually most of the things right, but I think the bits that she got wrong were the big calls. And it said that Timani one, the first hit that he had was just so aggressive against the head that even with the mitigation taken into account, and we can debate that all day, but that level of impact on a head is it just looked bad. But then, about 2 minutes after that, there was an incident on Scarlets line. Cardiff were attacking Scarlets line, and the TMO tried to call it back for another high tackle. I think it was Jared Evans did smack somebody straight in the head, and he was calling it back, but somebody was talking to her, and I think we cleared the ball and it had gone for a line out or something, and it was right on to the next play and gone before she heard him say, hang on, I've got another head contact for you to look at. So there were little bits like that. I thought Shingler's yellow card was a piece of shit. It's stupid to go and do that at that time of the game. To go and do
that surprised me. That did. I honestly got okay.
But it's one of those things that, if you get away with it, then all of a sudden that's a penalty. Scarlets in the Cardiff 22, and it's one of those. It's an old school kind of stupid thing. But to treat that the same way as you did Timani's decapitation, just kind of that, the balance between the two didn't feel right. And there was another one just before Tamani got taken off by Dai Young, where he literally upended Shingler. He was quite legal in the ruck, and he upended him and spiked him. And the only reason he didn't actually hit the ground is because he spiked him into the ruck. So there was a couple of big calls there that kind of overshadowed the rest of it, if that makes sense. We do tend to look at those bigger calls. Having said that, from a consistency basis, those calls are made in exactly the same way that calls are made in previous games. So I think it's more about some of the guidelines the officials are given about what is mitigation. And, there's... When you've got that passive tackle, so what they call that passive tackle, that Sam Costello was still out with a HIA protocols for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, at a time when he should be pushing for a Welsh place from a passive tackle, that because the guy was upright like that, and like you just said, James, head contact is head contact. So it's consistent with what's gone before. It's just, is it consistently wrong? That's, don't get me wrong. They were, that Shingler thing just really irritated me.
It was silly, wasn't it? It was shithousing, but it was dumb shithousing because, if you get away with it, it's fine. But at that stage of the game as well, Scarlets were clear to close it out, and to do that, it gave Cardiff an opportunity, and they bolstered it anyway. But it's not the point, is it? You've got to be clever than that.
It could have easily gone wrong. But other than that, I thought Shingler had a great game. I thought there were so many of our players. I think it was a team together. Like I said last week, I think Moriarty's done us a favour by trying to wind people up and all of that. And I think they've had a bit of a chat and gone, right, okay, this is how we do it from now on, boys. So I was happy. It's the officiating is never going to be 100%, but like I say, it was consistent. For me, it's consistently poor, and that's.
But I will be fair as well. Let's be honest. This is the first good team now the Scarlets have beaten this season, haven't they? And I'll give credit where it's due, because before that, I know he was on a bit of a run, but you beat Zebra, you beat understrength teams at Challenge Cup, you beat the Dragons. They're not good teams, are they? But beating Cardiff at Cardiff Arms Park, for me now, this is a statement. And I do think the Scarlets can definitely push on. They got momentum. They seem to have confidence now. Even Dwayne Peel had a smile on his face, which we haven't seen all season.
So before we move on to the Ospreys game, Car, the bit I liked about that was the look on the commentator's face. So our friend Tom the Taff was absolutely distraught after 30 minutes. He could barely bring himself to even commentate on the game. And you've got him and Shane Williams trying to describe what's happening in a scrum. And you're sitting there going, like, boys, why are you even trying? You've just most props haven't got a clue what's going on in the scrum, and you've got a winger and a centre who've never been anywhere near a scrum trying to describe how a tight head prop keeps the pressure on and stays upright. What? No, boys. And then he says, so bearing in mind, neutral, he's a neutral commentator. So twice before our time, he said, well, we'll be playing into this wind in the second half. We will be playing into the wind in the second half. I just thought, there you go, mate. That's all I needed. So yes.
Good Cardiff boy.
But he is
neutral. But this is kind of, I don't mind it so much when people put their hand up and they go, I'm a Cardiff supporter and I'm commentating on Cardiff, or I'm a Scarlet supporter and I'm commentating on Scarlet. So you've got to take everything I say with a pinch of salt. When they try to pretend to be neutral and they try to pretend that they're not influenced by the game, let's be honest, everybody sees through it, everybody knows it. And you can't help but go, that's my team that's out there.
That's
playing.
why I could not be a commentator. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you could if it wasn't an Osprey. If you were commentating on anybody else, bar the Ospreys, it's a bit easier, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Or maybe like for you wouldn't commentate about the Scarlets. I wouldn't commentate about Ospreys. But if I was watching Dragons and Cardiff, I'd enjoy that game as a neutral and. It's anyway.
I could be a commentator because I'm professional and balanced, as everyone who listens to this podcast knows. Don't know what you're laughing for, boys. You know I'm right.
How's that martini beer going?
I know.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
It's a good beer, that one, isn't it?
A bit too nice, I think.
Right, let's have a chat about Ospreys. So before we talk about the game, Carwyn, tell us about your experience in your little Christmas present, mate. Tell us what that was like.
Since I've been living in Ireland 5 years, I only moved back last August. That was my first visit back to the Liberty since I've been home. And you know what? It was fantastic. Firstly, a shout out to the crowd because the atmosphere was buzzing, absolutely buzzing. And there was a big group of young Irish schoolboys from Rathmines with all their big Leinster flags, and they were making the atmosphere as well. You know, it was great. But again, from the point of view, my present was up into the executive club. We had Lloyd Ashley, who was comparing there for us, brought on Q&A with Mike Ruddock. And then we had Gareth Anscombe and Cathy. They did a Q&A with us as well. And good food throughout. And then afterwards, we had Rhys Davis and Keelan Giles come up, still in their kit, absolutely shattered, and came and spoke about the game to us as well. Now, from my point of view, I don't know if that's right. But, you know, you play a game, you're knackered, you just want to get showered, relax, and chill with your families or whatever. But still, it was an amazing experience. I was right on the halfway line at the top in the comfortable seats. The food was great, the chat was great, meeting some people like I mentioned to Scott and Lloyd Ashley, Tom Sloan as well, and hopefully we're going to get them on the podcast soon. Especially dealing with the well-being of mental health within the sport and what they do after for men and women, and just listening to the guys' stories.
Well,
Scott,
look,
Scott retired. I'll let him tell you his story, but he retired from the game like 18 months ago now, or just over, and was in a big dark hole, you know. But I'll let them talk about that. That's not for me to go into. But it was quite humbling, to be honest, listening to these guys. So yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. But you know, moving on to the match, well, absolutely wow. It was brutal. It was physical, and let me just start off by, you know, in the game, Matty Prothero came off with an arm injury, and I think the oldest boy in the back line was Michael Collins, and I think the average age was like 22 in our back line. You know, and for such a young team, in the backs, I thought they did superbly well. Again, you know, we all know about Kieran Williams. I've banged on about him for the last few weeks. You know, wow, what a superb player, an absolute tank of a lad. You know, thought he had a great game. I thought Alan Wynne contained Rhys Ruddock pretty well. And Rhys isn't a small lad, you know, and he's an ox. But I thought he is, and I thought Alan Wynne contained him admirably, shall I say. I don't want to dwell on some of the mistakes that I thought should have been penalised, because it happens in every game, no matter who's playing. You know, the ref hasn't got three eyes, but I do put part of the blame to the touch judges for not seeing some of these glaring things that I could see 100 metres away or whatever, you know, wherever I was up in the stands. I thought Leinster were, what's the word? I think they played the margins extremely well, because I thought they were offside quite often. But that's just, I don't know, I'm trying to be impartial, but from my one-eyed point of view, I thought there was a few times they were in that offside and the ref just didn't pick it up. And you could hear the crowd. They could see it. I could see it from where I was. And it was just frustrating, because I thought it was a great game. You know, the Ospreys pack absolutely pummeled Leinster. Absolutely pummeled them. Like I text you boys saying 14 Ospreys. Say, or yesterday, lads could come out. We'll go for the 8th October for Ospreys pack. Who knows? There's lots of contenders there, isn't there? They were fantastic. Nicky Smith on another level. Dowie Day. Oh, fantastic! Absolutely fantastic. And when Gareth Thomas came on, I was watching it, and he was all round that park. He was playing like a centre. You know, he was everywhere, into everything. but watch, Leinster's try, Brian there, Hugo Keenan. Was it Hugo Keenan scored, didn't he? Or was that my fourth year? I'm not sure. Yeah. And he glided through, and it was the game changer for me. I think we did well to come back at that bonus point. There was a couple of little mistakes there that when we were in there 22, I think Alwyn, he dropped the ball. He wasn't looking. He dropped the ball, went on the 22. They went up the other end and scored. And there was another occasion as well. But it was a strong Leinster team. It wasn't. They were a couple of players missing from top level, but it was a strong Leinster team with a young backline, like I mentioned. We hammered them in the backs. We stood up to them. Hammered them in the forwards, stood up to them in the backs. I tell you what, we were unlucky not to win that game. Very unlucky. It was fine margins, I thought. But as an experience, I really enjoyed it. I had a great day out. And I mentioned I put that on Twitter and just said thank you very much for the experience. I can't wait to come again. And it was excellent. It was a game of fine margins, and it could have gone either way. Obviously, it went Leinster's way. But the Leinster committee men who were over, a couple of them over, they gave a little speech after, and they were highly praising the Ospreys, as a formidable team. And they said they spoke to the players in the change room after the game. They said they were glad to get out of it. It was that tough a game, I think we are building. We're going in the right direction. And bear in mind we had a few top players missing as well, and we dealt with that injury to Prothero in the first half. And I'm going to take my hat off here. I'm going to hold my hand up because actually on the way down, I was saying to the wife, I said, I don't particularly rate Kai Evans. When I watch him play, there's no spark there or anything. But he had a storming game. He went onto the wing after that. He nailed all his kicks. He had some cracking touch finders. His defence was superb. So, Kai, if you're listening, I take my hat off to you. Well done, boy. Changed my mind. Fantastic.
How can your dad be a Scarlets legend? Yeah, one of the greatest players to ever come out of Nestle, and you go end up playing in bloody Swansea. Come on, son. Come on.
Mother's from me.
I thought the bit that impressed everyone, I think, was just humping the Leinster scrum. I've never seen a Leinster scrum get picked and driven that way before. And they obviously did their homework. They obviously worked on it. And it's if there'd have been a bit more to the game for the Ospreys, they might have nicked it.
There was one area. I think it was in the second half. We were in our 22, and we were defending the ruck or whatever. I can't remember which Leinster player it was. I think it might have been Sheehan. And he came flying, he dived into there like Superman. And if our lad hadn't stood up quick enough, he would have been completely wiped out. And the touch judge was like, yeah, it's fine. He didn't make contact.
Yeah,
but if he did, no, it's not the point. It was just completely dangerous play.
But you see Leinster get away with it all the time, especially when they're Leinster. And it's one of the things that we were discussing earlier before we started recording was, at some point somebody's got to make a stand. I think the rules are there. I don't think it's about we need more rules. I think it's about we have to enforce this rule about your head has to be above your hips at all times. If you want to ruck, your head has to be above your hips. So if you're going into a ruck and you're aiming downwards like that, penalty.
Oh, mate, it was a version between Superman and Michael Phelps. The way he went into that, it was crazy. But this is a team who brought on as a sub World Player of the Year in Joshua van der Fleer.
I did laugh at
that. Oh my God! It was fantastic. It was fantastic to see it as a supporter. You're like, bang, this team, they didn't let anyone down. Been on a roll since Montpellier, who we're now playing again this week. Mm-hmm. And it's great. We're going forward, and I can't wait. We'll talk about the Montpellier game shortly, but really proud effort with the boys there. And I think on that game, on that showing, they deserve a far bigger crowd. It was a decent crowd. I'm not sure the attendance was. But
it was 4,000 odd, I think. I think it was around the 4,000 mark. Yeah,
there must have been 2,000 on one side and 2,000 on the other because it felt like a lot more. Because they didn't stop, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. To be fair to Ospreys, I thought they were terrific. I did that. I was willing them on. I really wanted them to beat Leinster, and the pack. Oh my God, it was so good. I haven't seen a Leinster pack get bullied like that. Well, the last time I can remember was probably when it was against La Rochelle in the Champions Cup about 3-4 years ago. But the way the pack just bullied and destroyed. I mean, that Leinster scrum, they had them on toast. Nicky Smith was terrific. I mean, that clip that's going around social media, oh my God, it was terrific. Dowie Lake was brilliant. I'm a big fan of Dowie Lake. And I did joke about this on Twitter, but I said that it went to shit for Ospreys when Dowie Lake went off. And it was tongue in cheek, but actually, I said it for a laugh. I think it's true. When he went off, Leinster took the lead, and then they started.
Scott missed the tackle on Keenan, and they scored that try. I'm like, you slipped off.
I want to say as well. You mentioned Kieran Williams there, right? I was absolutely delighted when he was named man playing the match, right? For two reasons. Number one, because I thought he was outstanding and he deserved it. And number two, how nice to see a player from the losing side get player of the match. And it's something we need to see more often in rugby. The player of the match does not always have to come from the winning team, Mr. Shanklin, or any other.
He's gone and said the name.
No, to be fair, he did. I don't know if you saw it. I did put this out. I didn't tag Tom Shanklin. I didn't mention him, but I said, other commentators need to take note that the player of the match doesn't always have to come from the winning team. And Mr. Shanklin replied, and he said that he agreed with you, but he said the post-match interview with a player can get a little bit awkward sometimes, which is why he normally goes for players in the winning team. Which on the one hand, fine, yeah, I get that, but I still think you've got to pick the best player in the match, regardless of whether he's on the winning team or not. And it would have been easy to give it to a Leinster player. You could have given it to Ruddock. I thought Jack Conan was great. You could have given it to a number one of them. But the best player had it, and Kieran Williams was fantastic, and I really hope to see him in the Six Nations squad. But credit to Ospreys, he did really well, really, really well. Leinster are Leinster; they don't accept losing, do they? They always find, and that's what good teams do. You've got teams like the Dragons who find ways to lose, and then you've got teams like Leinster. No, I'm being serious though. I'm being serious. That's what bad teams do. But
the Ospreys will learn from that. They will learn. Take that forward into matches going forward. That's an experience they don't want to go through again because they played superbly. Yeah, with other players to come back in.
Well, let's have a little look at what our predictions were last week then, right? So the final score, Leinster won by 5 points, right? So Reese, you predicted that one bang on. You said Leinster by 5. Carwyn, you said Ospreys by 5. Jamie, Leinster by 3, and I said Leinster by 10. So. Yeah, all in all, I mean, you were furthest away there, Car, obviously, but we were
not in the first half. I wasn't.
No, but it's not it's not a 40-minute game, is it? So, Cardiff and Scarlets. So, Reese, you had Cardiff by 3. Yeah. Carwyn, you had Cardiff by 15, and I'm loving that one. Jamie, Cardiff by 10, and I had Scarlets by 5, and it was Scarlets by 6, and then Dragons and Bulls. End result was Bulls by 15. So I had Bulls by 10. Jamie, you had Bulls by 15. You were bang on. Carwyn, you were bang on as well, and Reese, you were crazy. You were Bulls by 20. So, yeah. So it wouldn't. I think that's our best kind of week of guessing. And come the end of Friday night, me and Reese were still in the game, And usually after the first game on a Friday night, me and Reese have given up and not even worried about what happened.
Is that the first one I've got right?
That's the first
one. I'll take it.
So, let's have a look at this week's game. So we've got 2 games on Friday night this week. We've got Scarlets and Cheetahs and Poe versus Dragons on Friday night. So which one do you want to look at first on those? Scarlets and Cheetahs? Because that's on the 8th. So given what we did before to them, and this time they're travelling down to us, getting a fine West Wales soaking, I'm expecting something similar, so I'm going to go Scarlets by 10 on that one, just because I think we're on a bit of a roll, and I can't see that being any different on there. So, who else wants to have a guess at that one?
I'll say Scarlets by 15.
Scarlets by 15. So
I think it's going to be dripping. I think you're hitting the heights. You don't know, like you're coming good.
You've beaten the Cardiff.
Yeah.
Did you see though that Reece, the Sharks lost again to Connacht?
Oh, to Connacht. Yeah.
I mean, that's the level you're at now, mate. That whole kind of,
mate. Oh. When all this turns around, that part's going to be wicked. No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Connacht did him.
Carwyn, your prediction for Scarlets cheaters?
God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Scarlets by 7.
Sorry, I think I passed out.
Scarlets by... Yeah, I don't need to repeat myself. You can listen to the pod if you want to hear it again.
Yeah. Indeed.
Jamie, what's your prediction, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Scarlets. They got a bit of confidence, momentum. They're at home. I don't really see cheaters cause them too many problems. I'll go for Scarlets by let's have a look. 17. Yeah, I think it'll be a big win for them.
Groovy. Okie dokie. So then an hour later, I mean, a kick-off at 8 and a kick-off at 9, it doesn't help, does it? So a 9 o'clock kick-off, because it's in
France.
Yeah.
9 o'clock in France.
Yeah. Is Poe versus Dragons. So, James, what's your prediction on that one?
Well, if Dragons did what they should have done in December and beat Poe at home, I wouldn't particularly care about the outcome of this because we'd be in a good position. But because they fucked it, they got to get something from this game. And we have a 1 in 7 games. It's never easy to play in France, whether it's Champions Cup, Challenge Cup. Regardless of the team Poe put out, it's not going to be easy. We have a 1 in 7. They have a 1 in 3. I'm struggling to see a win for us, yeah. I really am. So, I'm going to have to go for... And I don't know what the squad is going to look like. Is Di Flanagan going to put out the strongest team? Or is he going to rest some players? Because he's talking about players running on fumes after that Bulls defeat, and that's really worrying, that is. So, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go for Poe by 9 points.
Oh, by 9. I'm getting very technical here, boys. I'm recording this down now as we're saying it. This is the peak of technological advancement.
This is the improvement.
This is Mark II, this is.
We've come on from the Acorn Electron now. Yeah.
Well, the little notepads that keep getting lost in drawers.
I still can't find it.
Jamie, before you even said that scoreline, that is the scoreline I was going for. I was going to say Power by 9. Yeah. Just purely on the basis that they still have something to play for in that group. And they have beaten you. And I don't think they want to lose that game. I think they're going to go into it and I think they're going to beat you by 9. I think the Dragons will give a good account to themselves, regardless. I think they'll do well out there. But I think...
What I will say, if Dragons don't get anything from this game, they need to get at least a losing bonus point. They can still get out of this pool. We also need Stade Francais to not get anything in the next couple of games. But if they come away from this game pointless, without the win or any losing bonus points, I don't think they're going to get out of this pool. So it is a pretty important game, but I don't trust the Dragons at the minute. I really don't. I think they're shattered physically and mentally, and I just don't see them.
Yeah, it's been a tough slog for them. It's been a tough slog the last few weeks.
Yeah, enough.
So, Reece, what's your prediction?
Out in France. Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, isn't it? So, around about 15.
Oh, by 15.
Well, no, he said Dragons by 15, he said.
Okay, so I'm going to piss Jamie off now. So I'm going to go Dragons by 2 points. I genuinely think, that sometimes when you're that far down and you've had kicking after kicking, that kind of backs to the wall mentality kicks in, and sometimes it's enough. I think I keep saying if you can get the ball to your wings, you can beat anyone. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Dragons by 2, and I think.
Hey, we'd all love that. We'd all love to see that.
Yeah, and I just say it's going to come at some point. So I'm going to predict that it's going to come this week.
They lost at home to the Cheetahs as well, Paul. I just remembered. So I'm trying to be optimistic here. But if the Cheetahs can go there and get a result, maybe Dragons can. I don't know.
Yeah, and
maybe.
some French sides can be very emotional about these things, and whereas anyway, Dragons by 2 for me. So Sunday, we'll come on to the big one in a minute, Car. Okay, so Sunday, Cardiff at home to Newcastle, 1 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So does that work better for people at 1 o'clock on a
Sunday?
No,
I hate it. Yeah, no, I don't like a Sunday kickoff.
Yeah, I think if it's like a 3 o'clock on a Sunday, I don't know. Does that work?
You'll be tucking into your roast lamb at 1 o'clock on a Sunday, say?
Well, any rugby on a Sunday, like Friday's bad enough. I just want Saturdays. But
so, what's your expectations for the?
Having a look at the result of Newcastle after this, they beat Sale. They lost to Bath, which is it was at Bath, but still, these days that's a bit of a loss. But then they've hammered Leicester
at
home. Sorry.
Yeah, they absolutely hammered them, didn't they?
Yeah, 45. They put 45 points on them. Leicester got 26, but still 45 points. It's at Cardiff. I think we're going to be hurting from losing two games to some of our closest rivals. If I said that out loud. So I'm going to predict a Cardiff win, but I'm looking over my shoulder, and I think it'll be a lot closer game than it was the last time. But it all depends how serious Newcastle are taking it. The side that we tore apart up in Newcastle isn't the side that probably beat Leicester. So I'm going to say Cardiff, and I say by 5.
It's a brave prediction. Carwyn, what are you going for?
I think if Newcastle bring the team that beat Leicester, it could be a tasty game. But with that in mind, I still think Cardiff to win by 8.
Ooh.
More confident than me.
Oh, hang on, let me find 8. There we go. Lovely. All right. Jamie?
Well, Newcastle have played 2, lost 2, and got 0 points, right? So for me, I think talking about their league results is irrelevant because it's a different competition. And are they going to put out the strongest team? No. Are Cardiff going to put out their strongest team? They're top of the pool. Some of those players need a rest, don't they, Reece, as you know? I don't think Cardiff are going to play a strong team. I think we could see a game between 2, sort of reserve teams, if you like. I think they're going to be 2 much changed teams. And I probably will go for Cardiff to win this because purely I am at the Arms Park. So I'll go for Cardiff by...
I don't think we'll put up the ranks. I don't think we'll completely change everything.
No.
I think we'll have a core of players and then, change up some of the not the key positions, if you like. Yeah.
But it's Josh Adams, Thomas. Do you expect them to play in this game?
I expect probably Reece Priestland at 10 and that sort of game. So, yeah.
You can afford to lose this one. This is not a must-win game for Cardiff. You're sitting pretty at the top. Newcastle, they haven't got any points yet, so it's looking fine for you either way, isn't it? I think.
So, how many points did you say, Jim? Cardiff by?
I think I can't remember.
It's that beer. It's that beer.
I'm getting a box of that stuff for next week.
8. Cardiff by 8.
Cardiff by 8.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the same. Newcastle, the side that plays in the league, isn't going to be the one that turns up. But then you've got to rest like Faletau. I think you probably got to rest Thomas Young. You've probably got to rest Thomas Williams. The boys have played a fair bit of rugby. So I'm going to say Cardiff, but I'm going to say Cardiff by 1 point because I think it will be a close game, but I don't really know which way it's going to go. So I'll say Cardiff by 1. So now we come on to the big one, the mainland, the head honchos. Ospreys, Montpellier, Car.
You know what? I'm really excited by this game. If we win, I'm not sure if it's with a bonus point, but we could be in the knockout stages with a win in this game. Oh, you don't know what Montpellier are going to do after losing to us. Are they going to turn up with the big guns complete go for us? I don't know. Of course, I'm going to say Ospreys are going to win, and I think it's going to be a close game. Ospreys by 4. It's going to be a really nervous, tense game. Ospreys by 4.
What I love about that is the fact that it felt really painful for you to predict that score.
It's hard, because it is, because
drawn out.
No one thought we were going to go down to Montpellier and win down there. And look at us, it's changed our season. If they back that up, I mean, and we got players coming back in. Happy days, roll on. Watch out the rest of you.
Cool. So, Jamie, what's your prediction?
Well, look, if the Ospreys can go to France and beat Montpellier in their own backyard, I don't see any reason why they can't do it in Swansea. And we've seen, they'll have a strong squad out. The pack, it's been going really well. I'm going to go for an Ospreys win, absolutely. Ospreys by 7 for me.
Happy days.
Lovely.
Good luck to them. I hope they do it. I really do.
So, Reece, what's your call?
Yeah, very similar. I think, after that pack performance, I think confidence is high even after losing to Leinster. They just seem to have a bit of a spring in their step. I'm going to go for Ospreys, but by 3. Close game, but
3. Cool. Right. Okay. So I've had a couple of questions off Ospreys fans on Twitter and what have you this week, and on Facebook. Am I actually capable of predicting an Ospreys win and this, that, and the other? So the answer to that is no. So I'm going more.
Oh, he's a spoil sport. What a spoil sport.
You've heard the ears first to those listeners, yeah.
So I'm going to go.
But I think the referee was the first one asking the question.
I'm going to go Montpellier by 5. I think they will kind of want to level things up, and I may well be wrong, but it's just going to be funny watching the reaction to some of the people on Twitter for that one. So I'm going to enjoy that. Yeah. So we shall see how that one comes next week. Lovely jubbly. So the other bit that we're expecting next week, so we're going to have to rattle through this quite quickly, gents, is probably by the time before our next podcast comes out, Gatland's expected to have announced his Six Nations squad.
I think that's going to be announced next Monday morning, dear.
I think it's either next Monday or next Tuesday, apparently.
Oh, they are. Well, let's get it in there. Come on.
It's rumours, and what we know from Gatland and the way he runs things is rumours come out really, really early. So it may be, it may not be, but so we've all got our squads in. So we'll put these on Facebook and Twitter and all of that kind of stuff. So having a look through what we've got, I mean, the bit that sticks out for me is tight head is really, really light. If we lose Thomas Francis, we're screwed. I can't see
it's a problem position, Alice. It's a really big. When I was choosing my squad, this was the one position I really struggled with because the depth isn't there. And like you said, if Thomas Francis gets injured, we are in big problems because I don't want to be selecting people like Will Griff-John in the Wales squad. No disrespect to him, I really don't. I don't particularly want to be included Sam Wainwright because he's still, he's very raw to me. We still don't know if he's, up to this level yet. But we probably will have to look at Sam Wainwright. We don't know if Dylan Lewis is going to be fit yet for the Six Nations. That's going to be touch and go. We got absolutely no return date for Leon Brown. And the tight end, we are looking really, really light. So that's the one position in the squad I'm concerned about.
I think that's the best case scenario, isn't it? Dylan Lewis coming back because at least he can play there, and has played there against some big front rows.
Well,
I think sorry, just looking at it, running through it there. We've all agreed on Thomas Francis. Both me and Jane, we've got young Wainwright down there. You two haven't got anyone else. You couldn't think of anyone else. And then hooker wise, sorry, are you right for me to run through this, Lee?
Mate, go on. Yeah, I love some more beer. You carry on. I'm quite happy.
Yeah, so three of us have gone with Dowie Lake. Lee's gone with Ken Owens, and we've also got. Oh, I know. So Reese has got with Ken Owens as well. Then three of us have gone with Bradley Roberts. Scroll back up, because I can't see it now.
No, because we've got. I put two for each position, and then a couple down the bottom as well. So,
okay.
We've got Ken, Bradley, and Dowie Lake down the bottom there as well. See.
All right, so I think that's a consensus there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I think we've all got Ken Owens there as well. Reese Carey, Nicky Smith, and Gareth Thomas. I mean, three great players there. Happy days. Adam Beard featuring four of us there. I can't see Alan Wynne-Jones on the right-hand side there with Lee.
No, I don't think he will.
I can't see Alan Wynne-Jones there with Reese.
No. I think if he
fair enough.
I think if he goes back to Alan Wynne-Jones, I think it puts him in a really difficult position around captaincy. Two, I don't think Alan Wynne-Jones would earn his position in the team anymore. I don't. And I think it sends the wrong signal to all those players that he wants to go fighting for the position and what have you. Bringing somebody back in who, with the best will in the world, at international level is past his best. As inspirational as he is, and don't get me wrong, he is an inspirational player. But
as good as he was against Australia.
But I just don't think he's got it in him to put a whole Six Nations run together. So that's why I've left him out. But then I went round looking and go, right, who'd you put in? And Ben Carter may be fit, may not be fit. And then our next best bet after that is David Jenkins, I think, myself.
Well, I feel what? I thought Rhys Davis is a bit of a beast. He's been playing well.
He's got to be. He's a big boy.
He's got to be included.
He's a lump. He's a lump, and he's been playing well.
Yeah.
I've got Seb Davis. Rhys has got Seb Davis in there. Just because of the squads, we don't know which way I think Warren Gatton's going to go. And then moving into the back row, I think we're all pretty much the same. But I haven't selected Tommy Revel.
Why not? Why didn't you select Tommy Revel?
Because I think Young's been playing well enough. You got Ross Moriarty playing well. It's really tough. Jack Morgan playing well. There's some great players out there, and it's always a question: who do you leave out? I say he played well out in South Africa, but he's not. He's just lost to Newcastle. He hasn't played well his last couple of games. If you're not playing well, should you be there? No, don't think so. They need to pick on form as well. And those lads I've mentioned there, they've been bang on form. I think Ross Moriarty has been fantastic in a losing Dragons team. Felipe Filato has been Felipe. Jack Morgan rested this weekend, but up until then he's been fantastic. Thomas Young has been absolutely fantastic for Cardiff, and Tiprick. I mean, if it wasn't Kieran Williams man of the match, it would have been him, and he would have been man of the match last week as well. I think whoever we pick in the back row, we're going to do all right, to be honest.
I think we're going to have to choose 2 sevens again. And I think we're going to have to put someone like... I don't think we've got an out-and-out 6 at the minute. I
Jack
think
Morgan's the nearest to it, isn't he? As a sort of ball carrying...
Yeah. And I don't think he'll pick Moriarty. I think Moriarty is... What you've seen from him with all the aggression and this, that, and the other, he is giving away penalties far too easily now. He's
been good for the Dragons, so this season he has been good. I know he gives away penalties, but that's the nature of his game. He plays on the edge. Yeah, but he's been good. He deserves a call up.
But I think at international level, if he starts giving away that many penalties at international level, you'll just get crucified.
Yeah. But you need ball carriers.
I just realised.
A ball
I've just realised I haven't put Morgan Morris in my team, and I'm going to give myself a quick slap for that because he was definitely meant to be down in my squad.
He's in
the others.
All right, he's in my others. Happy days. I did put him down. Good.
He's in the other section. I included him in the others because I just had no room.
But see, I put him above Moriarty because he's a big he is a ball carrier. He is a decent tackler, but he doesn't give the penalties away. And that's why I think Moriarty won't be in there. I think he's just got to that stage where he's more about the aggression than he is about the ball player. And when he's a ball player, he's fantastic.
Absolutely. Don't be surprised. I don't think he will, but don't be surprised if Aaron Wainwright gets a call up, because Gatland was a big admirer of Aaron Wainwright.
Yeah.
And he's done okay this season since he's been back. He hasn't been brilliant. He hasn't done a lot wrong, but don't be surprised if you see Aaron Wainwright in our squad. I think he could be a surprise. I don't say Bolter because he's been around for a little while now, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about if Wainwright popped up in there. But we got so many great options in the back.
Great, Aaron Wainwright, isn't he? But I've noticed there's a lot of mistakes this season. I've seen him like a lot of drop balls and stuff like that, isn't he? But he's still a good player, isn't he?
He's been okay. I mean, he did have a big dip in form, didn't he, after the World Cup? And he hasn't been the same player. He's had injuries, but like I said, Gatland was a big fan of Wainwright, and I don't think we should be surprised if we see his name in this squad. But I know people will be surprised, but I wouldn't be.
Moving on to the backs.
Go on then.
Hey, all right. So we've all gone for Thomas Williams, Dane Blacker. Hang on now. Two of us have gone for Reece Webb. Happy days. I think that's me and Jamie. Then we've got Dan Bigger. He's in there for all of us. With Jared, we've all gone for Jared Evans as well. Oh no, sorry, Lee hasn't gone for Jared Evans. He's gone with Sam Costello, as has Jamie as well, just to get an extra player in there. Reece hasn't gone with Kieran. Go on.
You know what? That's one big mistake. That is like not choosing Kieran Williams, like So I hold my hand up there.
Thank you. I'll hold you to that.
Oh dear.
So apart from Reece, we went for Kieran Williams. I actually put Owen Williams in as well, just because he has steered that Osprey ship a bit there now. I know that he dropped out of the squad the other night, so hopefully whatever's happened is not too bad an injury or whatever's happening. I don't know, but he could be a wild card for that Six Nations squad, and I don't think he'd let anyone down if he was. I
think that comes down to what type of game Gatland wants to play.
Yes,
and it's when he brought Jamie Roberts in. Jamie Roberts wasn't the best centre in Wales at that time. He was a very one-dimensional. Give me the ball and I'll run 10 meters. Give me the ball and I'll run another 10 meters. But he did what he did really, really well. He was never that creative, expansive, but he turned into a superb, hard-running, heavy-running centre. So if that's the game that Gatland wants to go back to, then someone like Kieran Williams at inside centre works really, really well for him.
There's a question mark, though, for me. I don't know what you guys feel about this, but there is a question mark over Nick Tompkins. Now, I like Nick Tompkins a lot, right? But is he a Gatland player? I'm not so sure. He has come out recently and criticised the 60 cap rule, isn't he? I don't think that's going to sit well with Gatland, to be honest. And if he's not a Gatland player, then for me, I have included Nick Tompkins in my squad, but I would be replacing him with someone like Mason Grady. But there is a big question mark for me over Tompkins. I'm just not sure if if Gatland will fancy him.
I seem to be the only one with Mason Grady in my squad. And again, it's been tough select there, because there's boys like Joe Roberts, Joe Hawkins there as well.
I think with Mason Grady, I think you've got to be a little bit careful of managing him coming into a Six Nations squad, isn't it? I think more time in the autumn or I don't know, but I don't think it's some at all.
But wasn't he in the autumn squad as to train with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, an attached player, isn't it? But then they've all come through that system, they've all come through the 18s, the 20s, they're kind of groomed, if you like, from a young age into being an international player. So the mentality, the mindset is all there. There's nothing that happens around the international arena that's going to be any different for him going in. Do you know what I mean? He's experienced all of that before. That's the purpose of the under-20s. So, I mean, you got Mason Grady, I got Joe Roberts. I think centres are our weak area at the minute. You know, I think we've relied on Jonathan Davis there for so long.
I can see you've been quite one-eyed Scarlets in a couple of your selections as well. Just looking.
No surprise there.
Just judging by the play, you say you've gone for Joe Roberts there. Where everyone else, you've also got George North for centres, but as well. Yeah. But then we've all got Lewis Zamet, Alex Cuthbert, Josh Adams. We've all got that Rio Dyer. But then you've gone for Ryan Combe.
Yeah, he is the inform winger this year. Him and Rio Dyer, the inform. I thought Josh Adams had a fantastic game. Yeah, he's way up the charts. The only player beating him on tries, I think, is Steph Evans, and I can't see Steph Evans getting a look in with Gatlin, to be honest. So yeah, in terms of players beaten, number of yards gained. Ryan Combe is right up there, and he fits into the mould of a Gatlin style player. He's big, he's strong, he's aggressive. He's not the fleet-footed Shane Williams type. He's similar to Josh Adams, and if Louis Rees-Zammit isn't fit, then I think, when he started pushing George North on one wing and Cuthbert on the other, and they were big, heavy, bulky wingers, I think Combe and Adams kind of balance each other out quite nicely. I think if he puts Dyer in, it's because he's looking to play a more expansive game, because I'd say you either go with Adams and Combe or Dyer and Zammit, depending on what type of game you want to play. And I think,
like you said, let's hope they're all fit to start with. Yeah. And hopefully there's no injuries this weekend or the following weekend. But yeah, and then we've got a bit of a mix. I've gone with Johnny McNichol, Ken Owens, and Reece Patchell there. Reece hasn't chosen any, and obviously Morgan Morris. Dav Jenkins, another one I've looked at, and if I could fit him in there, I would. But I don't know. We don't know how big these squads are going to be. And Jamie, you've got Aaron Wainwright there as well. And Lee got Kieran Harley. Oh, you got Owen Williams in there as well. I'll take it all back.
Yeah, he's my utility back.
There we are.
Good choice.
So yeah, I mean, we've all gone for I think we're all fairly along the same lines with the odd one or two players, which no one would disagree to have them in, or in the squad. Otherwise, I think they're all form players at the moment.
I think it comes down to what type of game Gatlin wants to play. And if he wants to play that tight kick chase game, everything, keep the ball for 3 minutes and then look for space. I think we're going backwards if he regresses to that, and I don't think he will, because I don't think we've got the front row to do it. I don't think we've got that solid pack. If you're going to play a kick chase game, you need to be able to rely on the fact that when you come to scrum time, you can win your own ball comfortably and you can challenge theirs. And I don't think we will. I just, we know the problems we've got at the front row. Second row is a mobile, agile, high-skilled, making breaks around the outside of a ruck. I don't think it's that kick chase game. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing who selects.
But what we got to discuss is the captaincy, right? Because this is where it gets really interesting. Well, there's three options here, right? The Gatlin's got. So he either continues with Justin Tipperick, as we saw in the autumn. Now, personally, I think that'd be the wrong call, given what we saw in the autumn. Yeah. The other option is he goes for experience. So you're looking at players like Alwyn Jones, Ken Owens, Dan Biggar. Or the third option you got is you go completely left field. You select a young, fresh-faced captain, someone like Jack Morgan. And the question is, what's he going to go for?
I think he's going with Jack Morgan.
I favour going for a young captain, to be honest. I favour going for something new.
I think it's going to be Dan Biggar. I think he'll go down the experience route. I don't know why. I just got a feeling he's either going to go to either Ken.
He likes Dan Biggar. I don't think anyone would disagree if he stuck with Dan Biggar. Tipperick's been doing a great job at the Ospreys. Let's say it wasn't a great autumn for anyone. Doesn't matter if you were captain or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. He said he stuck with Dan Biggar, but it wouldn't surprise me if he also worked with someone like Jack Morgan, a bit of freshness to it, build your team around that boy, and see where they go from there.
Yeah, I go with Jack.
Well, Jack Morgan is 22, isn't he? And I believe Sam Warburton was 22 when he was made Wales' youngest captain. So, he's done it before Gatland. He could go down that route again.
You never know,
it's going to be
G.
No. He has made these, left field calls, haven't he, in his career, Gatland. So we'll wait and see. But it's going to be interesting to see where he goes on the captaincy.
That's about the Scarlets.
I'd like to see Jack Morgan. Would you like to see more experience, or would you like to have like a fresh-faced youngster come in?
Who's that question to? Oh, me, come on.
Anybody, lads.
Yeah, I don't think you were talking to them.
I thought this was a joint chat.
Rich is talking to himself again.
Yeah. It happens after this hazy G.
No, I'd like to see young. I think it's a brave selection to go for a young player, and I would like to see a younger player coming through. The problem is younger players don't get that kind of experience at club level. So if they don't get experience at club level, how do you really know if they can do it?
But whoever he picks, let's not forget, the player has got to be in the starting 15. It's got to be first choice, which makes me think, it's going to be Dan Biggar because he will be Wales' first choice. Alan Wynne-Jones, there's no guarantees he's going to start, is there? Is he going to continue on the bench like he did in the autumn? Jack Morgan, we know how congested the back row is. I think he's a terrific player. I love him, and I think he'd be brilliant captain. But is he guaranteed to be in Wales' starting 15? I'm not sure. I hope so. But
I think his game can bring sort of Gatland game. He's a ball carrier, isn't he? And he's good at the breakdown. So he's got a lot to his game, isn't he? He's not just a one-trick pony.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I can see him sticking with Biggar, and then possibly even through the World Cup as well, just for that continuity bit. Because I think part of what Pivac did was tried to change too much too quickly, and then it just, it started to fall apart. The same kind of goes for Gatland. If he tries to go back to too much and doesn't evolve enough, then he kind of shooting himself in the foot. So I think he's got to stick with some of the changes that were made, and then that's why I think Biggar is a good captain when he's on the pitch and not arguing with referees. He's actually quite a decent captain, So, like you say, other than that, there's not many players that stick their hand up as a guaranteed name on the sheet. So
I think Ken Owens would be a good shout though as well. Because I would start with Ken, and he's in good form at the moment. Yeah, so Ken is another good shout, I think. But I put my cards on the table. I think it'll be Dan Biggar, the captain.
And on that
I think Ken's got to be first choice as well for a hooker for the Six Nations. It just brings,
absolutely.
He's hitting every line out. His ball carrying has been spectacular since he's come back. He's just got to be picked on.
Yeah.
So on that note then, gents, I think we're done for this evening.
Cracking. Well done, guys.
Flew by.
I
know we were talking about a Cardiff loss.
I hope our Rapsters, my new Twitter name for our followers, enjoy the rap.
You're getting a box of Quality Street out. And going
like one of those kids clubs, send you a sticker. Then.
Oh God! Right. Let's knock it on the head there then, gents, and we shall do the same next week. Enjoy your rugby, my friends. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ta-da.
Thank you for listening to this week's show. We hope you enjoyed it enough to come back next week and listen again. So please do subscribe, rate and review the pod, as it really helps us on most of the platforms that we appear on. You can keep the conversation going on Twitter and Facebook by searching for us on WRAP, W-R-R-A-P, or you can email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. We'll be back next week to do some more of the same. We hope you'll come and enjoy us, and in the meantime, enjoy your rugby.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office.
More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.